to me, there's no question, this is the biggest range and most talented field Supercross has ever seen, period.
This ain't fun. This is not fun. This is not fun. It is not fun at all.
To be honest, this season for me was a complete nightmare. I feel like everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Sexton's down with Stewart. Malcolm Stewart is down again for the second time in this main event.
There's risk and there's rewards, right? Like the sacrifice of your whole life just to be out there for the 20 minutes of the main event. Like that, I feel like that's my whole life in that moment.
I hate to say it, but it is a brutal sport.
Heat win number 5 for Malcolm Stewart. You just saw it, and down goes Stewart, big time. Oh, that was hard to watch.
Oh, that was a hard hit.
Christian Craig gets the win, 450. Heat number 1 goes his way.
We all live and breathe it, and it's a love-hate relationship on that, because when things go great, there's nothing like it in the world. But when things go sideways and you end up with an injury, it's a bummer, but it's part of it. It just becomes another obstacle in this sport of racing. Both 450 guys had a really tough season last year. Looking at the future, the race season that's kind of right upon the industry, there is a huge sense of hope. And what's this year look like? It's been said a million times, but you really you put in all your work, you do everything you can in the off season, and then you don't know where you stand until you get to that first race.
Malcolm Stewart, who we forget was leading Anaheim 1. I believe he had the fastest qualifying time at round 2 and won his heat race, and that was pretty much the end. He crashed in that round 2 main, then tore his ACL, or everything, I guess every ligament in his knee. We finally got him to admit. Then he was gone. He never even raced round 3, and we never saw him for the rest of the year. Flying at the test track, everyone is saying it. Malcolm Stewart.
Not surprising. I mean, it's Malcolm Stewart, man. The guy's so talented, right?
Yeah.
But is the serious injury he's coming off of?
I think some of the comments that you heard, I heard, are like, he should win A1. They were convinced, like, hey, if he doesn't win, like, something went wrong. Like, he should win.
Christian Craig, not ranked much last year because he didn't make it through the season, but there were qualifying sessions at Anaheim 1 where he looked good, and then he crashed, and he admitted to you everything went south from there. Then he was okay after that, but we never saw that level. So is that under the hood? Is that there for Craig?
I think it's still there. It's just getting his mind and body back there. Listen, we all know how talented he is. If you've ever watched him ride a motorcycle, not many people can do what he does and make it look like that. He just needs to kind of believe that he can be that guy.
Hey, since you got that new knee, we can do them sprints. Remember you talking
Track and it moved.
Yeah. Put that thing to the test. How bad did my injury affect me? A lot, in a lot of ways, and mentally, physically, of course. When people don't understand, it's like, I got hurt in contract year. That's the first thing that, that's gonna happen. That's gonna come to your head. It's like, man, I'm hurt, and then it's contract year. Where am I gonna go now, right? All I got is a race and a heat race, right? Like that's all I got to my name right now. And when you have a knee injury like that, and you miss a whole year of racing, like I knew deep down inside, like missing a whole year of racing, it's not good, right? It's not like you're just gonna bounce back and because it's just unheard of, right? Like the elevation of level, it used to be every 2 years where you would see a big change. Now it's happening every year. Like people are getting better. There's more talent out there. Riders moving up to the new class. It's just things are changing, right? The change is fast. So when I miss a whole year of racing, it's like I felt like I missed 2 years of racing.
I think Malcolm's injury from last year was much bigger than a lot of people would understand. ACL, when you hear that, people go, oh, that's gnarly. But he blew his entire knee out, going through what he went through for surgery and then the rehab and the whole process, and strengthening it back up once it's healthy enough to actually put it to work. It's mentally, it checks you every day on that, I was very impressed with Malcolm and the way he came back once he got back on the bike, you know. I think he questioned, like, it's been so long, I don't even know if I know how to ride anymore. And then ultimately he got on it, and I mean, within a couple of weeks, I was like, wow, this guy is not scared.
It's tough to take 9 to 10 months off out of a race season and come back that new year and find your place, you know, find where you belong, where you're gonna start out the season at, and what you're missing in your racecraft, you know, to be honest with you. You're gonna find that out rather quickly, and you need to adapt quickly moving forward.
This question's for Malcolm. You came in 2023, you came in super prepared, a lot of buzz about you, and it all unraveled obviously very quickly with crashes early. How much of a toll did that take on you mentally, and how are you changing your mindset coming into 2024?
You know, of course for me, it's been a whole year for me since I've raced, so going into it, just relaxed, you know, and just having fun with it. You know, again, you know, last year kind of got taken away from me, but actually, if anything, I feel like I'm more relaxed going into this year, because I feel like I'm like a little bit of that underdog. Like, nobody has seen me race in over a year, so if anything, there's just nothing but a point to prove. It's just really good to be back up here again in front of all you guys. You know, you don't realize how much you miss it until it's gone.
We're getting to see 3 generations collide at one time. That doesn't happen very often. Usually it's one generation is moving out a generation. We've got Tomac and Anderson and Stewart and Craig and Barsha, all these guys in their 30s. That's a generation. Then you have Sexton and Plessinger and Cincerello kind of in that mid-tier in their trajectory and in their timeline. And then you've got this Jet and Hunter Lawrence, Justin Cooper wave coming in. So to get 3 really good generations all combining at one time, to me, there's no question, this is the biggest range and most talented field Supercross has ever seen, period.
2024, this is definitely not where we expected Malcolm. This is not where Malcolm expected himself to be.
Malcolm Stewart in his return ride went down on the opening lap and is now having to play catch-up aboard his Husqvarna.
Yeah, tough position, not where you want to start off.
Sexton's down with Stewart. Malcolm Stewart is down again for the second time in this main event.
And that has been the way the season has started for Malcolm Stewart. Has not even been able to break in the top 10 consistently this year due to crashes. That is Malcolm Stewart going down. He was in a battle for 6th place. Warp trouble, that is Malcolm Stewart.
That's a rough start for Malcolm Stewart on his return when he was feeling so positive.
Getting to this point in the season and, you know, really not having even close to the results that we all believe he's capable of, yeah, it's not only deflating, it's hard to stay in the grind. You know, you start to question, like, I mean, I've been there, I know what it's like. You start going, oh, am I doing too much? Am I doing too little? You know, is my setup right? You know, and then you second guess every decision that you make, and it just begins to snowball on you.
Malcolm Stewart, we have been waiting for signs of life from Malcolm, who missed pretty much all of last season and has been off to a slow start here in 2024.
Of course, it's not what anybody expected on the team, for sure. But at the same time, I think, you know, being with us around the team and understanding, they also know that I missed a whole year of racing. So it's kind of like, it's tough for me. I've had a lot of rough luck, I would say, being in first-term pileups, getting really terrible starts, struggling with like bike setup on the mental side, you know, physical side of things. Like it's kind of a big package.
This ain't fun. This is not fun. This is not fun. It is not fun at all. So what do we need to do to make it better? That's where I'm at. I'm just like, I want to be up there with you guys. I want everybody to be happy.
I'm with you. It is not fun watching that, and I know that you're capable of so much more. It's not a secret. He's had trouble getting a good start, and when you put yourself back there, you're in the elements. You know, you actually add more risk. It's been one of those constant grinds just to grind his way to the front. I'm gonna pay attention a little bit where you're shifting. Like I talked about, shifting quicker. Like, I want those legs, like soon as you get out and you got a good stabilization, pull up those legs and then get that shift early.
it's tough. I think starts are more mental than anything, and it's one of those things where you either are really good at starts or you're gonna, be kind of hit or miss at starts.
That one was fine too, and you hit the mark. I moved it up just a touch, but I think that's good enough. But if you notice, if you ride it too long past that, that's when it wants to wheelie on you. You get that shift, you stay in the meat part of the torque, and it makes traction, right? As soon as you let it go, it either spins or it hooks up and it then wants to loop out. So that's good. Same thing, just keep that body movement. I need a little more, like almost over-exaggerated right now, like pow, and then, like when you go over, you're pushing again, okay? After taking hit after hit and you kind of getting knocked down and then getting back up and then knocked down and getting back up, really just, it takes perseverance and belief in your program and what you've done to this point, and knowing that, like, hey, I've been on the same tracks with these guys. I've went the same speed as them. I just need to put myself in that position. If I can just get up there and get in that position, like I've done in a few heat races, it can all come through.
This is more like we expected, a rider that has the speed to run up front.
This is the kind of ride that I've been hoping for and waiting to see from Malcolm Stewart.
Stewart all the way around the outside. And Malcolm Stewart's going to complete the pass again. Crowd loves this action. Well, we already talked about how deep and unpredictable this 450 field is. We just put another name on the board of someone that can win tonight, because Malcolm Stewart is straight up taking the measure of Anderson and Lawrence.
Time to bring the action in the Mile High City 450 main event. Good start, Jed Lawrence. Down goes Chase Sexton.
Yeah.
It's the Lawrence brothers, 1 and 2.
Malcolm Stewart caught up in that lap 1, turn 1 crash.
And before he got injured last year, he was one of those guys who just waiting and waiting, because he was on the cusp of winning his first 450 Supercross race, and unfortunately went out early in the season. Now he looks and appears that he is back.
For me, goal of the season was more of a comeback, get your shoes wet, make every race, but also go out there and race hard and do the best you can. And at the end of the year, the results are what it's going to be.
Here comes Malcolm Stewart. Whoa! Malcolm right around the outside on the high line, and then hits the deck.
Full send around the outside, tries to do the power move.
And that was a terrific comeback until that moment.
Hey, now that corner. Dude, he better hit the brake. He's not hit the brake. Yeah, dude, that was the fastest I've seen somebody in that corner all night. Oh, we went for it. I respect the effort. Yeah, I respect the effort. Yeah, we tried. Good job, man. Good job. That's a battle. It's hard to me. Battle. Chase just fell in front of you, man, and nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. Great job today, Malcolm. Good ride, man.
We didn't even talk about your start. You were up there. Yeah. If you can Chase fell in front of you. You were top 5.
Yeah.
So if that would have happened, honestly, you were probably you're probably pushing up on Anderson or beat him. So
Take the momentum, what we got.
let's do it. Let's finish it off strong, and then we'll take it in the outdoors.
Yeah. So
No.
we can't be bummed on that.
No, and you
I felt like that was, how you talked about yesterday or last week. It was you got to find that momentum.
Yeah.
Got to find this, got to find that. And I felt like this week just the whole attitude was good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Practice
Well,
was
and then
really
your
good.
practice, you found that spark.
Yeah.
That's what we've been missing.
Yeah.
So.
But
okay.
cool. All right,
buddy.
All right, cool.
I got pretty tough skin, and I watched what my brother had to go through. When he was racing, when he had his highs and his lows, and it happens to all of us at one point. Everybody, there's one point where you're all standing up on a podium, and then next thing you know, everybody's saying you're washed up, he needs to quit and retire. So I understand, that feeling, and I know what that feeling like. So I know we've been, in the trenches right now pretty heavily, but I think my mindset hasn't changed at all, and it isn't going to change even from all the way from January all the way to September. I got to keep fighting, keep digging, and my time will come. I got into fishing because of my dad. My brother he always wanted one son to at least take off after fishing, and my brother really dislikes fishing. And he's like, if he has another kid, he's gonna make sure he likes fishing. And I mean, as far as I can remember, you know, my dad's always taking me fishing, and I just fell in love with it. I hooked this one pretty good. Little, but I'll take it. When you're racing, man, it's like, obviously everybody knows it's a job, right? And the moment you receive your first paycheck becomes a job. And I didn't understand that until I got a little older. There's risk and there's rewards, right? Like the sacrifice of your whole life just to be out there for the 20 minutes of the main event. Like that, I feel like that's my whole life in that moment, right? And that's a lot of stress. And you think about when you get hurt or just having just a day-to-day injury. I mean, yeah, still to this day, I'm, you know, having injuries happen throughout every race. There's something that next week, oh, my back hurts or my leg hurts, or you're always stress level mode and on top of the mental side of things. Like when you don't do good and you have that. So you add all that in there, it's definitely a lot, but that's why I always say, like, you gotta have some type of balance in your life, because man, like racing will, you know, drive you crazy in its own weird way, but there's a victory at the end of it, you know? Like, there's nothing better feeling whenever you do good and you're like, okay, that felt great, looking forward to the next week. And then there's times where you have a bad weekend and you're just like, you know, longest 7 days of your life, couldn't wait, you know, you just wish there was another race or something, and you gotta dwell on it for the next, you know, hours and days. So that's part of it, but I always would say, you know, there's always, I'm just thankful that, you know, I get the race again, or if something happens, you know, I get to fight another day. Everybody, RJ knows his place. He knows I'm a way better fisherman than him. Yeah, he don't want none of this. He says the one day we went out fishing, and I don't know, it was somewhere in the off season. We went out fishing and none of us caught nothing. We didn't catch anything, but we wasn't really trying either. We just talked more than anything. We just wanted to get out of the house. So from that day on, he like said, oh, well, when I was on the boat, you didn't catch anything. I was like, well, you're on the boat too, you didn't catch nothing either. So that makes both of us not good fishermen, right?
But that's the thing, is I don't claim to be a pro fisherman. He does. Like, look, I'm fishing on a pontoon on a boat club. He's got a dang $90,000 fishing boat and can't catch a fish. I hope you send that to him too. I want him to know.
Oh, here you go. Come on, come on. Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah, you tell RJ about this one, boy. That's decent. Ah! It's all right. Ain't bringing in a boat, RJ. Come on, man, see? Talking crap. See, this is what I deserve. Y'all saw it, right? We got the footage.
The old saying, when it rains, it pours, you know, Christian has definitely had a dose of that. And this last injury that he's gone through, has been, it's a true test of his perseverance and his willingness to, you know, overcome any obstacle in front of him, which this happens to be another injury.
After 3 surgeries, I mean, the doctor said I was free to ride, and when a dirt bike racer hears that, I mean, you're gonna jump at the bit and get back going. And looking back, I mean, donations, I was in grimacing pain, and I just never said anything. I bit my tongue and enjoyed that process, but looking back, I was literally in so much pain just trying to ride and race at that time. My mindset was always like, just push through it. It's gonna get better. that once the muscle comes around, it's gonna be stronger. And so just little things like that kept me going. But looking back now, it was kind of diminishing and getting worse. And to where the point where I could barely hang on to a dirt bike, and that's when I knew it was time to get this thing looked at and eventually fixed.
Christian Craig had an elbow injury last year, was starting to flare back up again. He tried to ride press day yesterday and decided he's not going to be able to go for the foreseeable future with the elbow injury.
To be honest, this season for me was a complete nightmare. I feel like everything that could go wrong went wrong. The 6 rounds that I did race, coming off the track each time, I was either telling my mechanic I was in pain or telling him what's going on, like why am I riding so bad, you know? And I wasn't pointing the finger at anybody. It was looking in the mirror and being like, why am I riding so bad? So that was the most frustrating thing. I'm a realist. I know I'm not gonna blame the bike. I'm not gonna blame anyone around me. I know my trainer, my team, everyone was trying to get me to be my best, but at the end of the day, I wasn't riding my best. And whether that was my mentality, my elbow injury, it all just kind of compacted. It was me thinking my arm was gonna blow off again, me falling apart mentally, me literally just sabotaging myself completely to like, I'm like numb right now.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I'm embarrassed. I'm everything.
Yeah.
I have no words for you guys except I'm sorry, you know?
I feel for Christian Craig, man. It's been a rough go these past 2 years over here for him. Injury-wise, have really, put a damper on, his potential and what he brings to the table.
For a while there, I was doubting myself, doubting my ability. After this last surgery and feeling like my body is finally in the right spot or is getting there, that gives me confidence that I can, produce the results and get back to that high level I was at. So it's tough, the situation I'm in right now, but we have outdoors coming up here in, I think, a little more than a month. So that's kind of my goal, is to shoot for that first round outdoors. It wasn't long ago I was dominating races and won a championship. I think that's what keeps me going, is I know I have that potential in me. There's zero doubt that I'm gonna keep racing and keep trying to get back to that level. And that's gonna take me being healthy, body-wise. And then once that happens, I feel like the confidence will come, results will follow.
Comparing Casey and Gillum as two completely different routes to get where they are now.
As a kid from Spain, this is something you dream of all your life.
Nate's like, dude, Gillum broke his femur. I'm like, my heart sunk.
The reason why Loretta Lynn's is so important is it's the pressure cooker. And as we see every year in Supercross and motocross, it comes down to who can handle the pressure. That's who becomes the champion. So if you're scouting or you're looking at a rider's development or you're planning for the future, you want to see how they handle the most difficult situations imaginable. And Loretta Lynn's is that.